So over here, I need to find the original array from the doubled. Okay, so let me directly explain you through an example. So I've got 1 3 4 and 2 6 8. So what I can see, 2 is a double of 1. Similarly, 6 is a double of 3. And another thing to notice is 4, 8 is the double of 4. So I need to return the original array. So what my first step would be, my step 1 would be to sort the given vector or array. So this is 1 3 4 2 6 8. So this will be 1 2 3, okay, followed by 4 6 8. Okay, now for any element to have the elements, the double of the elements and the elements itself, the total number of elements in the vector should be even. So my first condition would be check if odd. So if this is true, in that case I'll return an empty vector. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll create a map called frequency. So this is 1 2 3 4 6 8. So 1 occurs once, 2 occurs once, 3 occurs once. All elements here occur only once. So now I go for 1 and ask what's the frequency. It says 1. And I check for the double of 1. So that is 2. So that is in both of these are present. So in my answer, I'll put 1 and put the frequency of 1 as 0 and frequency of 2 as 0. So these two elements, sorry, so my iterator initially was over here. So I move my iterator. So now my iterator comes to here, this position. Now since 2 has a frequency 0, I simply continue. So my iterator comes over here. So 3 has a frequency 1. Now I check for the double of 3, that is 6. So this also is present in my frequency. In that case, I reduce the frequency of 3 by 1 and reduce the frequency of 6 by 1, and I append 3 to my answer. Okay, then I go to 4. I check for the frequency of 4, it is 1, and I check for the double, that is 8, and the frequency of 8, so this is also 1. So these two elements are present, that means the double of 4 is present. So I decrement the frequency of 4 to by 1 and I decrement the frequency of 8 by 1. So this reduces to 0. Now my iterator moves from 4 to 6. So the frequency of 6 is 0. I move ahead. The frequency of 8 is 0. So this is my answer. But before returning the answer, I go and check if the frequency map is all empty or not. So I see all elements over here are 0. In this case, I can return true. However, if any element, assuming 9 and 10 are present and these have frequency x and y, which is not equal to 0, I would have simply returned for a false or an empty vector. Okay, my first step over here to check if the changed vector is odd or even. So in this case, if this is odd, that is modulo 2 not equal to 0, so I'll simply return an empty vector. Okay, suppose that I create an answer, a vector called answer. So it will have integers. Okay, so now I need to sort my changed. So this is changed dot sort. I create a frequency hash map. So I say let mutable f. So this is hash map. So the key will be an integer and the value itself as integer. Okay, so this will be hash map. Okay, now since I have used a hash map, I need to state here use standard collections. Okay, now over here I'm sorting the changed, so I need to make this as mutable. Suppose that now I populate my frequency vector. So I do for and num that belong to changed. Okay, so I will do the this would be the frequency dot entry of num. Okay, otherwise I'll insert 0. Okay, so this line over here increments the frequency. Now I need to iterate through every index of the change. So for I in 0 up till changed dot length. Okay, so what I do, I say let my num is equal to changed of I, and let my current over here, that is the current frequency of the number, so this will be f dot get and num. So this will be unwrap so this will help me find the frequency. Okay, and then I create the doubled, so I find the frequency of its double, so I say let doubled. Similarly this will be as it is, however my num will be multiplied by 2. Okay, so this will be num star 2. Let me put a bracket over here. Okay, now I say if my current not equal to 0, okay, that is the frequency of my num is not equal to 0, and doubled also not equal to 0, in that case I will push this num into my answer. So this will be answer dot push num. Okay, and I need to decrease the frequency of the number and also its double. So what I will do, I'll copy this from here. So this is, so I'll do minus equal to 1. Okay, and same thing I'll do for the double of this. So this will be num multiplied by 2. Okay, post that I need to check after coming out from this for loop. I will check in my frequency whether the count of all elements is 0 or not. Okay, so if my count is not 0, in that case I'll simply return an empty vector. So this will be return vector empty. Okay, post that I'll return my answer.